So my first question for you guys this morning, we're going to have some activity this morning. It's good to keep us fit, isn't it? So I want to know who's travelled anywhere this summer and what mode of transport you might have used. So if anybody has been in a car during this summer holidays, I'd like you to stand up. Anybody's travelled anywhere in a car? Okay, most of us have been in a car. Great. Have a seat. Has anybody travelled on a bus or a coach this summer? Ooh, few. Anybody travelled on an aeroplane? Oh, you guys are the lucky ones. Wow. Anybody travelled on a boat? Amazing. Great. Have a seat. So we've all travelled in lots of different ways. And for me, thinking about the new school year, it's a bit like a new journey, isn't it? It's a bit like a new journey, a new exciting adventure that we're embarking on as we start the new term. So I thought I'd share a little bit about our exciting journey this summer as we were going on holiday to France. We go to a Christian camp in France, a Spring Harvest France camp. We were really looking forward to it. Last year, we nearly missed the ferry. This was not my fault. We were working on someone else's timings in the house, which were not mine. We did not miss the ferry. We arrived in Portsmouth, and about 5 minutes later, the ferry left, and we were on it. But that was good. I know. So this year, family were laughing at us a bit and saying, "Don't miss the ferry." So I was very clear. We are leaving. We were only going from Oxford to Portsmouth. We were going to leave a spare 2.5 hours. Andy was saying, "We're going to just be sat in Portsmouth for hours, Wendy." I said, "No, we're not missing, because we can't miss it." So we left 2.5 hours more time than we needed. We missed the ferry. So we were on the M3, and things were going okay. We're not too far away, getting excited. The holiday's going to start. And there was a horrible crash just a little way in front of us. And the whole of the M3 got closed. And so then there's nothing you can do. You're just sat waiting. And all of your plans just go to pot. And you're watching the clock tick by. And you keep checking your Google Maps to see how long is it going to take. And you're like, "No, this is just definitely not happening." So we prayed. We did pray for the people in the crash, and then we selfishly prayed for ourselves that we would be able to get to our holiday. And God was awesome. We arrived at the port. Andy went up to this desk and said, "We've missed our ferry." We had visions of having to wait another day, pay a whole new ferry costs. And they said, "Oh, we've got a ferry in a couple of hours. We've got a cabin that you can have. It will be a bit extra." And we were like, "Okay, that's fine. How much extra?" £9.50. Yes. So God was good. We went on our holiday, slightly different route than we'd planned, but it was good, and God is good. And so that's the analogy I bring this morning of a good God who travels with us, that we can pray to, and that when things don't quite go to plan, he is there to help us out and to support us. And he will do. This new school term, if things don't quite go to plan, he will be there to help us. So my first Bible verse is from Deuteronomy 31:6, and it says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord your God goes with you." And that is the key thing. As you venture, whether you're going back to school, you're going back to work, or there's people that are starting retirement, starting a difficult health journey, whatever your new chapter is coming up, God is going with you. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and he will make your paths straight." And so I want us all to be trusting in God as we start this journey. Now, I've got a bit of one of my little science experiments. I have to say, I am not as trustworthy as God. So this comes with that warning. Okay, so I asked Harvey yesterday whether he trusted me. He said yes. I tried the experiment. He got very wet. So I'm going to try it again. So would anybody like to trust me enough to engage with I need one volunteer. Ruben's hand is up. Round of applause, Ruben. Right, I'm going to put a towel down just in case. And I've got another towel because if you get wet, I can dry you. But we'll put this down to protect the floor. There we go. You can stand on this. So, and I might get Andy to come and help me. Andy also helped me yesterday with Harvey, and he also got soaked. So, Anyway, okay. So, here is our student returning, or a teacher or a parent, whatever, returning to school this year. And here is your hopes, ambitions, your promises from God that you have ready for the year ahead, that you have in your mind. So Andy's going to hold it over your head because this is in your mind. I know. Is that okay? Move forwards because you're standing on the edge, the middle of that's perfect. Okay, so as we start our new term, it's possible that things might go wrong. What kind of things might go wrong as we start our new school term? Any ideas? Anyone got any worries that Harvey? Yeah, you might be in a class that's not with all of your friends. Oh no.
Yes.
I'm scared too, but it's not me under there. Okay, I'll go from this side so I don't get wet. Ready? Okay. Oh, it's in. Okay. Anything else? What else might go wrong? Winnie? You might get harder classwork because you're going up a year group or you're moving to high school and there's going to be harder work and you might find it really tricky. Are you ready, Ruben?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Are you still trusting? Okay, what else? What else could go wrong as we go back to school? This could pop. It will ruin the hairdo. Oh, okay. Any other ideas? Maths? Yeah, well, Andy's a maths teacher, so he says that's the best subject. But yes, maths might be really, really tricky. Ooh. Okay, I've got one more pencil. I've got one more. Have we got one more thing that anyone's worried about going back to school? How about, sometimes people get bullied in school. I've heard sadly, some of our children in Sunday school talking about being bullied in school, especially things around race being used against them, which is really wrong and horrible and can make school really challenging. So I'm going to put that one in. Ooh, there was a drip then. Ooh, okay, I think we did it. Well done. Round of applause for Ruben. And I just wanted to use that illustration to say we have an idea in our heads about how we want this year to go, and sometimes things will go wrong. It's really unlikely that everything's going to go really smoothly in the year ahead. But God is there and he's holding it all together. He's not going to make that bubble burst. He's not going to make everything fall apart. There might be some hiccups in the road. And I like to think of it like God is like a sat-nav. So sometimes we go wrong when we're on our journey in our car. But the sat-nav's great, isn't it? Because it recalculates and it gives you a new route. And God is like that. So as you go along, as you come across a tricky something that happens in your day or your week, God's sat-nav is there to recalculate, help you find a way around that challenge and carry on that journey to a successful school year where your hopes and your dreams can come true in him. God also gives us his word, doesn't he? He gives us the Bible. And that is a bit like a map. Okay, so it tells us where the dangers are. It tells us where the cliff edges are. It tells us where the nice green pastures are where we can lay down for a rest. And it's up to us to decide our journey and our route. So some people here might be risk takers and they go near that cliff edge. Sometimes you might fall off. The sat-nav will still help. And some of you will take that safe path, abiding by what God says the good rules and good decisions are, and go through a safe path. So you have a map to help you through your school year. And also, you have Jesus and the Holy Spirit to help you. You're not traveling alone. And I think journeys are always much better when you've got a friend or companion to go with. And even if you're going to a new class or a new school without people you know, without friends, you absolutely have Jesus with you every step of the way. He is not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. He will be there all of the time, and you can always talk to him, and you can always know that you've got a friend with you on that journey. Okay, so I missed out 2 Bible verses. Thanks for picking them up. I am with you always to the very end of the age, Matthew 28:20. Great. Now, I would like us to think about a couple of Bible characters that journeyed with God and see how they got on and see what we could learn from them. And the Bible's full of people that journeyed with God that we could use as examples to think about returning back to school. But I've chosen Moses and Ruth to think about. So for me, Moses was someone who felt unqualified for the journey ahead that God had called him to. So God said to Moses, I would like you to lead the Israelites out of slavery. Like, wow, what an honor. God has like this big task for Moses, tells him what he wants to do. And does Moses say, yeah, great God, I am here, I am ready, let's go? Is that what Moses says? No. Moses says, and we've got a Bible verse to come up on the screen. This is what Moses said. Moses said to the Lord, "Oh, my Lord, I am not eloquent either in the past or since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and of tongue." So he's saying, Lord, I'm not very good at talking to people. I can't kind of get my words across very well. I'm not going to be the right leader for you. I think he's basically saying, I think you should try someone else. And this is how God replies. The Lord said to him, well, who has made man's mouth? What's the answer to that question? Who made Moses' mouth? God. So God knows how good or bad it is. Who makes him mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now, therefore, go. I will be with your mouth, and I will teach you what you should speak. Okay, so we've got Moses in this passage expressing his insecurities, the things that he's worried about, the things he knows about himself that are his weaknesses, and he's got a bit of a lack of confidence. And we can all be like that sometimes, can't we? We know where our weaknesses are, and they might be very real weaknesses. Maybe you're entering a new academic year and you're dyslexic, and you know that reading and writing is difficult for you. Maybe you're someone that is really, really shy, and you know that making friends is really difficult. And so if God's saying, hey, go and talk to that new girl or boy over there, you're thinking, what? Not me, God, because I'm the shy one, remember? And God says, yeah, I know. Remember, I made you. I know that you're dyslexic. I know that you find maths really hard. I know that you're really shy. And I'm still asking you to do this thing. So God reminds Moses, I'm the one who created you. I know all of your abilities, and I know all of your limitations. But I still have a calling for you. I've still got a task that I want you to do. And I'm going to be with you. I'm not sending you. God doesn't say to Moses, go off and do it by yourself and come back to me and tell you how you got on. This passage is saying God is going with Moses. He's going to help him along the way, and he'll be with him every step of the way. So God calls us despite of our limitations. And this passage demonstrates that God equips us for anything that he's asking us to do. So we should remember that God doesn't simply call the people that are equipped, but he equips those that he calls. So we have this assurance. Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall speak. And this illustrates that truth that God doesn't require a flawless person that's perfect and shiny and ready. He calls faithful servants, people that are willing to say yes and people that are willing to go. So as you go into your new school year and your new class, God wants you to be willing to stand up for him, to let people know that you're a Christian and to stand up for him. I'm going to embarrass Finley a little bit now, but I was really impressed with Finley this morning because last night he was sharing with me that there's a new lad on his football team, and he said, I think he's a Christian. I think he goes to St. John's in Bangor. So I said, well, how do you know? Because he said, I haven't spoken to him yet. So I was wondering if this was an impartation from the Lord. But Finley said to me, another friend in school texts me, and because that person knows that I'm a Christian, he texts me to say, this boy's joining your team and he's a Christian. And I love the fact, Finley, I do love the fact, that he's willing to stand up and say, I'm a Christian, and that people in school know that he is. Because when Finley started in Trevan, he only went with 2 friends and he didn't really know anyone else. And now lots of people know him, but people know as well what he stands for and who he stands for. And I love that. Thanks, Finley. So in this passage as well, God also encourages us to be honest with him about how we're feeling. So he doesn't tell Moses off, does he? When Moses says, I don't think I'm the right one, and I'm not very good at talking to people, don't think I'm the right leader, God doesn't tell Moses off. So it's important that we talk to God about how we're feeling. So if you're feeling anxious about going to school, it's okay to say that to God. God's not going to say, you shouldn't be anxious. Wendy's told you this morning to trust in me. Now get with it. That's not how God responds. God will come alongside, reassure you, and make sure that you're okay on that first day. So Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's the point, because none of us are perfect, but God is perfect. And so everything that you're doing this year, if you do it through God, he will enable you to achieve anything that he's asking of you. His promises are there for you. Okay, so that's Moses. Let's have a think about Ruth. So it was good to have a male and a female, I thought, in the Bible to bring out our messages this morning. So a bit of the background of Ruth. Okay, so Ruth's mother-in-law is Naomi. And Naomi had left Bethlehem, travelled to Moab with her husband and her 2 sons. And when in Moab, her 2 sons had met their wives. So one of those wives is Ruth. Now, there was tragedy in this story. So we know that sometimes with God, things aren't always smooth and easy. Bad stuff does happen. And this is one of those stories. So Naomi's husband and her 2 sons had all died. So that left Naomi and her daughter-in-laws. So Naomi decides that she's going to go back to Bethlehem, where she's from. Now, one of the daughter-in-laws decides she's going to stay in Moab, but Ruth says that she is going to go with her mother-in-law back to Bethlehem. So this is leaving all of the people she knows, the customs she knows, leaving her family behind and going with her mother-in-law. Now, anyone that has a mother-in-law, I have a mother-in-law, I wouldn't be going. Okay? Many of us wouldn't. It's a challenge. It would be a challenge, wouldn't it, to leave everything behind and go with your mother-in-law back to where she is from. So let's have a look at what Ruth says. But Ruth said, don't force me to leave you. She's talking to Naomi. Because Naomi's saying, no, Ruth, you stay with your family. Don't force me to leave you. Where you go, I'll go. Where you sleep, I'll sleep. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. So rather than opting for the comfortable, easy option, which was entirely available to Ruth, she took the courageous and difficult option to go with Naomi. And courage can translate into our willingness to follow God's leading and his pathway, and sometimes that can be challenging. So as you go back to school, there might be some challenging decisions. And you'll have decisions to make. So on the school playground, you'll have decisions to make. There'll be easy decisions, so you can go along with the crowd in making fun of somebody else in your class, or you can take the challenging route to stand up for the person that's being picked on, to play with the person that no one else wants to play with. Maybe some of you are making decisions about GCSEs, A-levels, degrees, and you could choose classes that the rest of your friends are going to choose, or you could choose a different class that might be difficult to do and you don't know anyone else doing it, but it will lead you to where God wants you to be. So sometimes God asks us to take the challenging path and not the easy one, and that's what Ruth does. Ruth's bravery can inspire us to leap into the unknown, where we might discover new blessings and opportunities, and Ruth definitely did. The end of the story, I encourage you to read it if you haven't, is Ruth was totally blessed. She worked really hard, but she was totally blessed in that decision that she made. And so often, when we make that difficult choice, God totally blesses us. And there's also this really important bit at the end of Ruth 1:16 that says, "Your God is my God," because Ruth was from Moab, and she worshipped Moabite gods. And so this is a pivotal moment. She's saying to Ruth, "I'm going to worship your God." This is the moment where Ruth makes a commitment to God, to being saved, to having God in her life. Now, maybe there's people here who've totally made that decision already, and you're totally invested in God. You've already prayed to God, and you're living that Christian life. And I'm totally thankful for all of you. But there might be people here who haven't yet made that decision. And I encourage you this morning to be like Ruth and say, "God, you are my God. I want to follow you." And if anybody here wants to talk a bit more about that after the service, I would love to talk to you about what that means and how you start that journey, which is a whole new journey and totally, totally amazing. For Ruth, her desire to follow Naomi and her God represents a pivotal moment in her faith, and it transforms her life course. Choosing to follow God is a decisive act that can reshape the whole of your life. And I encourage everyone here to do that this morning if they haven't already.